Hi YouTubers, Raven here.
Starfire.
And tonight, we're talking about The Flash!
Season 7, Episode 2, The Speed of Thought.
This kind of thought, like...
So, this was also one
mind.
of the episodes that was supposed to be part of last season.
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 episodes of this season were what would have been the last 3 of
so
season 6.
Next week's episode would have been the previous
season's 6 finale. Yeah.
But yeah,
this was a good episode, but it was really weird seeing Barry like that.
I did not like it. I called him the Barry bot.
Well, he was talking like a robot.
He was.
He had no emotion.
Didn't.
So. And as soon as he got Iris out of the portal and she starts seizing and moving around, he's like, Iris!
And then he looks up and sees what he did to his friends. He's like, fuck this shit! Destroy the
and
Speed
he destroys
Force.
the artificial Speed Force.
Yeah. I don't think he...
Sometimes being just logical and not having any emotion, yes, you think you can predict the outcome, but like Cisco said, you can't predict emotions. You can't predict how somebody's going to react to something.
Yeah.
And, you know, he didn't see that outcome. He didn't see that, like, she wanted to help them and she wanted to save them and stuff. And hopefully next week they can get them back.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Cisco needs Camilla.
He does. He deserves her.
He does. After all that he's been through with women, he deserves to have Camilla back.
Yes.
So
120,000%.
I mean, I like Sing too. But, you know.
Yeah.
Cisco and Camilla.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I knew right away, like, I didn't know that him thinking about, like, what would happen was when they were voting, you know? But, like...
It was a simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as it was explained to me, I'm like, I know exactly what's gonna happen here. Like, as soon as Barry laid out everything and explained it, I was like, yeah, no, Barry wants to save Iris, and then everybody else wants to save Sing and Camilla, because there's 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, of
course. I mean, Iris would have wanted it that way either way. So it's...
Right.
Whether or not they went down like they did, she would have made them go through first. That's who she is.
Yeah.
And that's who Barry usually is, too. Like, they both self-sacrifice for the greater good. And
I mean, I understand why he was acting the way he was, because of what he had said at the beginning to Joe.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's not why he was acting that way. He was acting that way because of what they used as the thing for the Speed Force.
Yeah.
The central hub.
But I mean, that just contributed to it, kind of, you know, in a sense, because he does feel everything intensely.
Yeah.
And, you know, he feels like all of the bad things that happen to people are his fault. And so, you know, it's hard, but that's part of what makes Barry Barry.
Yeah.
Is that he has that heart, and that he has that thing about him that makes him special. Like Cisco is saying, it's not a weakness. It's what makes you human.
Exactly.
And yeah, and Cisco was great in this episode.
I did not realize how much I missed Cisco.
I know. I missed his comedy so much. Like, yeah.
You're weird.
You freaky.
Right?
He freaky.
Yeah. And then, like, oh my gosh, the second I saw that frost, like, that puff of frost, I was like, oh my gosh, no way, no way, no way.
She was also great in this episode.
Oh, I love Caitlyn so much. Like,
she got to have Velocity X speed.
Dude, the second she put, like, the thing to her arm, I'm like, is she gonna boost her power or something? And then it zoomed in and Velocity, I'm like, no fucking way! No way! I freaked out the entire thing. Like, oh my gosh, she's so fast! Oh my gosh, I love her! It's the frost face! Like, oh my gosh, I was, ask her. I was done. The second that you saw that blue lightning coursing, I was done, man. Yeah. I was dead.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was awesome.
And then she threw that ice speed bolt.
That ice blast.
The ice blast bolt thing for the speed, and I was like, yes! That's amazing!
Yep. It was so cool.
I couldn't.
And then, like, the thing with the ball, the quantum ball.
Patent pending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the show is better when he's around.
And her.
And Caitlyn.
I love
Caitlyn. And Frost.
Yes, Frost. We didn't really get any Caitlyn this episode.
No,
we got Frost. But to me, they're one and the same.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So it's like, I forgot that she was suffering from light sickness. I mean,
I like how Barry's just like,
Camilla was in the Mirrorverse.
I was so focused on Iris and her getting out of the Mirrorverse that I was like, wait, Camilla and Sing were there too?
Right? Like, I thought that, like, when they said Sing, I was like, right, I remember Sing going in, but didn't he get rescued? Like, I thought Sing was out, and I don't remember Camilla going in, but then, like...
I do remember Camilla getting...
Like, it took me a minute, you know, but I
had just forgotten, because it's been, like, a year.
Yeah.
And that last, like, the episode they ended on, you know, last year with Barry and Iris and, like, the thing, that scene. It wrecked me.
It did. It wrecked her bad.
Oh, God. I was just crying.
She was. For months.
Not for months. But, oh, man, that hit me in the feels, man. That was so hard.
It was.
To watch.
It was.
But it was also beautiful at the same time.
Most definitely.
Because it's Barry and Iris. Yes. So, in that interview that Grant Gustin did about this episode, he was saying that she's really going to have, like, now that she's out of there, she's really going to be, like, facing the consequences and dealing with all of the stuff that was happening in the Mirrorverse. So we're actually going to see that from Iris.
Oh.
Like, we're going to get to see her dealing with all of that stuff.
Yeah, she was mentally fucked.
Yeah, post Mirrorverse.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Like, maybe she gets some powers for a little while.
Maybe.
Because her mind, like, she's inundated with dark matter particles.
Mm-hmm.
So unless they can figure out a way to get them out of her system, which, I mean, that's a freaking good idea. Get the dark particles out of your wife's system. Use them to freaking go save Camilla and Sing.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, I hope that they do, because that would be two characters that we'd be losing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't particularly care whether or not we lose Sing.
Yeah, me either.
He's not exactly a huge player, and he hasn't been in a long time.
He hasn't. But Camilla, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But next week's episode looks awesome. I mean, she's going around kidnapping everyone and taking over.
Mm-hmm.
So,
let's see if I can.
You know, good times.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if she does take anyone else from the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like how short-staffed is Barry going to be?
Right.
And since Barry destroyed the artificial Speed Force, like they're gonna have to come up with a new core and reset that.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't fully destroy it. He just like destroyed the core. Right, like that's what it looked like.
Mm-hmm. He turns into Spock Flash. I was thinking that in my head.
Logan, so was I was like, he sounds like. When I said the Barry bot, I was like, wait, he sounds like Spock and Data.
Yeah.
I was having total Star Trek flashbacks.
Well, yeah, because see, Spock is half human, but he never likes to acknowledge that side of himself.
Right.
He always focuses on the Vulcan side,
Mm-hmm.
so he acts like he doesn't have any emotions when he does.
Yeah.
So, but somebody like Tuvok, who's completely Vulcan, is that way. He is logical, and he doesn't have emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And Data is an android, so he's,
void of emotion, but trying to find it.
Yes, always trying to find his humanity.
Yeah.
So.
And then you have to Paul.
So he's like, what is Barry thinking right now with Iris there convulsing at his feet? I mean, Barry kind of immediately snaps back to reality. He just spent the last day or so completely lacking empathy and not being the Barry we know. He really turns into Spock Flash, as I was thinking of it when he is working at the computer. He was functioning without any type of feeling, and when he sees Iris there convulsing and the rest of the team incapacitated, it snaps him back to reality, and he realizes what he's done and the fallout there is going to be. In this moment, he thinks he has killed his wife.
It's true. Yeah. At first, I was kind of thinking, fucking open the portal, throw it back in! Like, but he used all the particles to bring her back.
Yeah.
And basically busted the portal.
Mm. And so they're like, once Iris is presumably brought out of those seizures, is she going to be disturbed that Barry made that selfish, unilateral decision, or does everyone kind of write it off to the speed thinking? And he said, I think it's going to be the hardest on Barry because he feels like I did this, and he is expecting the team to kind of have ill will and turn on him. But Team Flash is a family, and they have his back. They help him remember that it wasn't him, he wasn't thinking clearly, and not to beat himself up too much. The artificial Speed Force had taken over his mind, and it ultimately wasn't his own doing, even though it really was.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, showrunner Eric Wallace told me that he had to do a bit of a different finale to this arc because of COVID and everything. Did it feel different at all? And he just is explaining like how they had to do different things and stuff.
Mm.
And then they're like, the final showdown will still be big and satisfying. And he's like, yes, it's still going to be satisfying. There's a big city action scene, and they were able to create scope without piling a bunch of actors on top of each other. And
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of makes you wonder though, like how it's going to affect the rest of TV in general.
Yeah,
because we can't have a bunch of people piled on top of each other.
And they can't
anymore.
do like the kissing scenes and that kind of thing.
Yeah, they can.
They can, but like they have to like be really quick about it, and they can't spend like super close amounts of time close together.
No. I mean, there are shows that like keep their people like secluded so that they know they know they don't have COVID and
yeah.
So
well, I think that they should allow the actors, because they have jobs to do. I think that they should allow them to be part of like the people that are allowed to get it early, the vaccine.
Yeah.
So that way they can go back to work, they can film, and yeah, they still probably have to have certain protocols and things like that, but it'll be a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah.
I can't imagine how The Walking Dead is faring with the whole like not being able to pile on top of each other, because that's what they do. Mm-hmm. They pile the dead on top of each other, and they can't all be...
Are you caught up on that?
No.
Okay. Well, because I didn't know if you were, but Hillary Burton, she's married to Jeffrey Dean Morgan in real life, who plays Negan, and who was the boy's dad on Supernatural. And they bring her on as his dead wife. As Negan's dead wife. Onto The Walking Dead. I only know this because I follow her Instagram.
So she was a zombie on The Walking Dead?
I guess. But, like, she comes back.
Like, to life?
I don't know if she comes back to life, but they bring her on as Negan's wife. Like, Negan's dead wife. Did she die?
We never saw her.
Okay, well...
It was just told to us that her and his...
Well, anyway, she plays
died.
Negan's wife on the show when she comes on in this season.
Maybe there's flashbacks.
And so, that's all I know.
I know Michonne is... Like,
well, because I really liked her character on One Tree Hill when she was on there. She played Peyton. And, so, like, I follow her social media and stuff. And she's married to him, and so she talked about how she was going to be on there. So
interesting. But yeah, you know, like with all like they piled the bodies. Like it's they hide under the body. Like
yeah,
I can't imagine how that affected that show. Eventually, I'll catch up and see if I can tell the difference. It's going to be interesting if I could tell the difference when I catch it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so maybe that's why they did it that way, like, for the Flash. Like, they just made lots of different Evas.
Maybe, yeah. And then, they're like, the Mirrorverse arc was so intense with Iris all alone slowly going mad, and that was on the heels of the pre-crisis Barry is gonna die storyline. Will graphic novel number 3 not be one of those arcs that's all about West Allen angst? Might they get a breather? And he's like, there's definitely a breather in a good way. We don't pretend like the Mirrorverse didn't happen. Candace, in particular, got a really interesting storyline where she got to explore the effects that this had on Iris. We don't move on like she was in the Mirrorverse and now she's out, life is back to normal. They did a good job of giving Iris a storyline that explores the effects on her psychologically of that experience. But we will also see more classic West Allen and see them taking the next steps in their marriage and talking about their future.
Good, because, I mean, like... when Savitar happened, we did not explore the ramifications of I almost died.
See, like, getting new showrunners sometimes makes a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
If Enterprise had had the showrunner that it had in season 4 for all 4 seasons, it would have been
it would have continued.
So much better of a show. Yeah. Because Rick Berman, I'm sorry, but he was a sexist jerk, and he treated the women like crap on that show. And not just Enterprise, but on the other ones too. On like Deep Space Nine and Voyager and Enterprise. And Next Gen. So, in season 4, they got a different person who became the head of it. Like head writer or whatever.
Right.
The showrunner. And it was so much better.
Like
season 4 is considered the best season. Yeah. And they canceled it because, I have it on at night when they show Star Trek. And so, like, I haven't actually watched, like, a full episode yet because I'm going to watch it when I finish DS9. Right. But I do know things about it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I talk about it, so whether or not you were watching stuff, you know stuff.
And my parents are watching it now on Heroes and Icons when they show it. So they're watching it with it as they air them. And so they're, like, liking it. Because they never really watched it when it was actually on. Like, that was one of them. They knew about it, but they just didn't really watch that one when it was airing.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're watching it.
No, I watch it weekly.
Well, because, see, my dad was all about the original.
Yeah.
And so they watched the others. Like, they watched Next Gen and Voyager and stuff. But, like, they didn't really watch Deep Space Nine. And they didn't really see Enterprise. And, I mean, they liked Next Gen, but he's not a fan of Picard, so he doesn't really care for it all that much.
My dad loved Next Gen. So.
Well, I mean, most people do.
Yeah.
But, and I like it, but Voyager's still my favorite. Although Deep Space Nine is starting to become one of my favorites, because that's a really good one, too.
I've only seen a couple of that one.
I mean, I'm on season 5, and, like, the early seasons are good, but once it hits season 4, like, 4 through 7 are considered, like, the best seasons.
Isn't that kind of how it feels like for most of the series?
Yeah, I mean...
Like, once you get done with the first 3 seasons, then it's just this gets better.
It just really starts picking up in season 4 because they bring Worf on in that season, and, like, Sisko, you know, starts to have his classic bald and, like, goatee look that, you know, he didn't have in the first 3 seasons, because in the first 3 seasons he has hair and, like, he just looks different. And in season 4, like, he just looks like how you know Avery Brooks to look as Sisko. And so, you know, and then Worf comes on in the first episode of that season, and it just, like, starts to kind of, the action picks up, and it gets a lot better, and it's, I mean, there are good episodes in the early seasons, but, like, I mean, season 3 was good, but, like, 4 was really good, so, I mean, I do agree that they are kind of, the first few seasons are slower, and, like, it takes a bit for it to get its stride, kind of. But for me, it wasn't really an issue with it being slower, because it was a different show. Because I had just finished Next Generation, and I had been watching that for so long, and so having Deep Space Nine as, like, a breath of fresh air, being its own kind of different feel and a different story and more deep and philosophical and things like that, it just had this different feel to it that even though it started off kind of slow, like, I got super into it anyway. And so for me, it didn't feel like it was that way. But yeah. Sorry.
So The Flash.
Yeah, sorry.
This is why you watch us. You love our tangents. There was a point in there somewhere, we just forgot where it was.
And then they're like, because they don't have a kid to make? He's like, exactly, yeah, that's going to come up as far as what's next for their family.
Yes!
And then they're like, lastly, this week's bonus scene revealed that the original and actual Harrison Wells has been reconstituted by, I am guessing, multiversal particles at the roadside grave where Eobard Thawne long ago buried him. What was it like reading that scene in the script? I had an inkling that we would tease this and explore this at some point this season. When we shot the last episode, it felt like it was the actual end of the Welleses on the show, and Tom Cavanaugh's run on the show. So to see this tease of arguably, and I personally say without a doubt, the most epic and iconic character he's played on the show was exciting. We're going to get to see the real Harrison Wells for the first time, because we've only ever seen Harrison Wells, who was taken over by Thawne. It's a character that I know Tom loves to portray, but as usual, it's going to be Harrison Wells with a twist. And we will get to see Tom do something brand new again with this character.
Yeah. I don't fully think it was multiversal particles. Those particles fucking green. Okay?
Yeah.
I think it was Oliver, okay? Let's just be real here. Fucking Oliver knew that he needed a Wells, and he just lost all of his Welleses, and he needed one to keep his mind held together. And so he's just like, oh, well, you know what? Here's one that never got a chance to live. Ba-doom. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, boy, yeah! I mean, because he turned into, like, what, Spirit or the fuck?
Yeah.
He became, like, the Spirit, I
don't know.
Whatever. He became a whatever mystical fucking being, okay? I don't really care. I just know he's off somewhere with Felicity making ghost babies. I mean, let's be real. So that's totally what I think happened. Oliver resurrected the not dead Wells.
Yeah. I just love the fact that you think that that you're not gonna see him again, and then he pops up and you see him again.
Right.
Like, they always have Tom Cavanaugh there, and he always gets to be a part of it, and I think that's great. You know,
I'm scared for the day that they actually get rid of his character.
I know, because he's such a good actor.
Yeah.
And he's so creative when it comes to coming up with the personalities for all the different Welleses.
Right.
Like, it's so much fun, and you literally don't know what you're gonna get each time you see him.
Right. It's like
it's something new every time.
Every season is something new.
So, it's fun.
Right.
So.
See, for me, the thing is that every incarnation of him that wore glasses, because not all of them did, he had those black-rimmed glasses. And they reconstitute this version, and he's wearing clear rimmed glasses. I'm like, I don't know if I like that look on you. Like, give me back those black rimmed glasses, please.
Weren't they black when they showed him?
Not this one.
Oh.
Not the reconstituted Wells. When he was standing above his grave. No, they were not clear see-through, but they were like...
But they were still the plastic frame?
Yeah, it was a plastic clear, like, if you put your finger up to it, you could
like
see
transparent?
The pink. Yeah, like you could see the pink of the finger, but not the outline of what it actually is.
Oh, okay.
You know? Like you could
so there was kind of like a tint, like a faded kind of thing to it.
I was not a fan.
Yeah.
No, glasses need to have color. Just looks weird.
I mean,
it looks like he's wearing eye protection in the science lab. Like
Before I started getting the plastic frames, like I used to wear the ones that had the actual nose pads and were like the metal frames.
Yeah.
But I like these better.
Yeah, I have the nose pads in the frames.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten one.
I just think the plastic ones look better on me, and I prefer them. So yeah.
And there's less little bits that can go wrong with them.
Oh, I hated nose pads.
Yeah.
Like, they always were. They were so uncomfortable.
They're wiggly.
And they move. Yeah.
I just like the rims that I have on my ones with the nose pads. So. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his glasses. He needs to change them.
I'm just excited to get to see Wells without being possessed by Eobard.
Well, I mean, technically he wasn't possessed.
Well, whatever.
I mean, he was killed.
He was killed, and then Eobard took on, like...
His appearance.
If
y'all are familiar, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, with the Animorphs, he basically fucking morphed into the guy, okay?
Yeah, he did.
Like
shape-shifted into him.
Yeah, he fucking Animorphed into the dude, but he doesn't have a 2-hour time limit. Like...
Yeah. So it's just gonna be really great to see him as we know him to be.
Well, we don't know him. That's
but I mean, like, as he was supposed to be, like, as Barry knew him.
Right.
Like, the mentor that he was to Barry in the beginning.
Before Barry met him.
Right.
The mentor that he was in the books Barry read.
Yes. That Harrison Wells.
But this Harrison Wells never got to mourn his wife.
Yeah.
He died the night his wife died.
So I wonder what the twist is going to be. Because it's still going to be Harrison Wells with a twist.
Yeah. You see, he's going to be mourning the death of his wife. I mean, unless he's a little heartless. Because, I mean, he's been dead for years. Like, and I mean, think about it. Someone fucking took on his appearance and went around and made him, like, the most evilest dude in the universe. Like, people celebrated when Wells was dead. You know, when it was Eobard, and they proved he was evil. Like, they wanted every time a Wells showed his face, they were like, no, fucking kill that guy. You know, like everyone that saw him except for the team, you know? So it's like, how is he gonna feel? Because that was his face. Like, it might have looked like the others, but the person he was impersonating was this guy. It wasn't the other guys, it was this guy. He took on his life, he took on his role, his job, his, like, everything. Like, is just, like, he stole the dude's life.
Yeah.
And he can't get back at him for it, because he's already dead. Like, there's no way for this Wells to have, like, closure. And I think that's probably the main thing that's going to be bothering him this season.
Yeah.
Like, he can't get closure. He's probably going to be distant and heartless a lot of the time.
And he's going to wonder, like, what the heck happened to me?
Yeah, he's going to want to know what happened to him. He's going to have a lot of catching up to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, he's going to have to learn about the other Welleses. He's going to have to learn about the shift in the multiverse. Yeah. He's going to have to learn that there's fucking people's running around with powers now.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be an interesting journey for him to see how that all plays out.
Yeah. How is he going to deal with the fact that he's known as the creator of the particle accelerator, which exploded and killed a bunch of people and gave everyone metahuman powers? Like, that's his legacy now? Is he okay with that?
Right.
You know, like, that wasn't even him, and he's given credit and blame for it. Like, how does he deal with that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's going to be really interesting. And I hope that they dive into that portion of him and not give him some, like, blah, 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 I'm weird and quirky. Like, I want to see, like, the study of this, like, we've seen, like, oh, yeah, I'm a dad that's doing whatever to save his daughter. Oh, look, I'm a drummer that's running away from his problems. Oh, I'm a dude that has multiple wives of the same person on every Earth I visit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've seen all these guys. We've seen surface level.
Mm-hmm.
But I would love an introspective, just like a character deep dive.
Deep dive, yeah.
And I would love for it to be the original Wells from the first episode.
And like, they probably are going to do that.
That's what I want from this character. I don't want any gimmick. I want to see the ramifications of this new universe on Wells.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Well, so far, the new showrunner has pretty much done right by the fans.
Definitely.
And the viewers. And so I think that, you know, considering how much he knows the comics and how closely he's following them and all of that, and probably just being a fan of the show in general and probably watching it from the beginning or being a part of it from the beginning, like, he understands the characters on that level, and I think that he will make sure that the original Harrison is given the proper development that he deserves. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's times where I've been frustrated with the Flash, of course, with the show. But I don't feel like they've done anything necessarily to make me feel betrayed.
No.
Except maybe promising us that you were going to kill Barry in Crisis and then not doing that.
Yeah. He didn't even fucking disappear.
But we already ranted about that, so.
Could he not have just got lost in time for a little bit? Like,
yeah. I mean, they could have given us something.
So that, I mean, I'm sorry to go back onto this Crisis topic, okay? But I'm curious, okay? I have a freaking solid good question here. Remember that one Legends episode? I know there's many, but the one where they went into the archive.
They've gone into the archive multiple times.
No, the first time that Firestorm went into the archive. Both of them.
I think I remember.
With Stein.
Was that in, like, season 2?
And they got the message from Future Barry. Don't trust me.
Was that the, like, season 2
know,
or something like that?
But, like, it was from the Future Barry that was dealing with Crisis. I'm still confused as to the point of what the fuck what was I not supposed to trust?
There's so much of, like, Legends and, like, the Flash that have literally been building up Crisis and him being lost in Crisis since the literal beginning of the freaking show. They showed us that article in season 1. And the payoff was completely unsatisfying.
It was bullshit.
Like, we talked about it on the crossover review we did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I appreciated how they paid tribute to, you know, the original Barry Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And did all of that with, you know, John Wesley Shipp and everything and had that Flash die. But at the same time, we were promised Barry would be lost in Crisis, and he was not.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I can't.
But I mean, aside from that, the show is still great, and I won't stop watching it because of that.
Right.
But, you know, because I plan to see it to the end.
Ferocious.
Especially because I can't stop watching it if West Allen is still part of it.
Right. We need the Tornado Twins.
So.
Let's go! Barry and Iris need to get on that.
Yeah. So, you know, yes, that was very frustrating. But I will still continue to watch.
Yes.
Because I don't feel like they've done enough things to make it to where I wouldn't watch it anymore.
Right. I mean, they had 2 back-to-back seasons, kind of sucked ass.
Yeah.
But and then Crisis happened in the following season.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, other shows, yes, but not this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like how they're all working together, though. Like, they literally are a team and a family, and they always have each other's back and support each other.
Yeah. I hope that Caitlin's able to, Snow, whatever. I hope she's able to stick around for longer.
Yeah. I mean, she might not be, like, a huge part of this season just because Danielle Panabaker recently had a baby.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't know how much of season 7 she'll be a part of. Mm-hmm. If she's come back to work or if she, you know, how long she had off to,
right.
You know. But the last few episodes of season 6, she wasn't really. And even, like last year when it was still going on, I mean, especially the last half of the season, she wasn't really on it that much. Mm-hmm. And if they did show her...
That's probably why they wrote her off with light sickness.
And if they did show her, she was, like, covered from the waist down.
Mm-hmm. So. Or it's like a headshot.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I think we still need to cover her mom's storyline. I think that's something we have to do before the show ends.
Yeah, they probably will address that.
Because teasing us like that's not cool.
Like I said, I'm sure that he'll try to do as much as he can with the things that need to be addressed that haven't been. But at least Iris is getting a story where she's dealing with these psychological effects of the Mirrorverse.
Yes.
And I think that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like with Supernatural when they only gave us 2 episodes of Demon. And then afterwards,
promises an entire season.
He didn't really deal with the consequences all that much.
Nope.
I mean, he did a little, but not that much.
Yeah.
So. But Eric Wallace he knows what he's doing,
mm-hmm.
and he's a fan of the show.
Yeah.
And, you know, he believes in the characters, and
he wants to stay as true as he can to the comics.
Yeah. So.
And I think that's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they're based on the comics, so, you know.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to do everything exactly like the
comics
did.
No, you can't.
But
there wouldn't be a story to watch.
There's going to be aspects of it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess.
I think we've covered everything.
Exactly.
All right. So next week will be the season finale that would have been the finale of season 6.
The shoulda, woulda, coulda been the season finale of last season. And then after that, we'll have the shoulda, woulda, coulda been season premiere of this season.
Yeah. So episode 4 will be
episode 1.
Episode 1 of season 7.
Yeah.
Technically.
Unofficially.
Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose
until next time, keep believing in the impossible.